According to the laws that we find in the book of Deuteronomy, the sexual assault of a woman was to be treated primarily as a property crime against whatever man owned the victim, and the penalty could differ depending on the nature of that ownership. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and in the Bible as well as in the ancient world, marriage was primarily viewed as a transaction between two men, where one was selling the sexual availability and the procreative capacities of his daughter, or perhaps an enslaved girl, to another. And that ownership of a daughter or an enslaved girl was considered socially significant, and the man stood to benefit financially from that transaction. But that relationship was not nearly as socially significant as the relationship created by that transaction between a man and his wife. That was the relationship that facilitated procreation, offspring, the perpetuation of that social group. And so when we look at the end of Deuteronomy 22, we see some laws about sexual assault. And there are two different penalties that we see in these laws. If the victim, the woman, was either engaged or already married, then that was a violation of the property rights of the husband, and that was the sacrosanct relationship. And so that violation was considered very significant, and the penalty was capital punishment. It was the death penalty. But if the woman was neither engaged nor married, then the violation was only against the father or the master's expectation of future financial benefit. And that was not as significant a violation. And so the penalty was that the perpetrator had to pay an elevated bride price to the father or the master, thus making the primary injured party whole. But there was a secondary penalty as well. That made the victim the wife of the perpetrator, and he was never allowed to divorce her, because to do so would be to set her adrift as damaged goods within an Israelite society within which she had no social identity, because her social identity was contingent upon her belonging to the paterfamilias of a household, either her father, her master, or her husband. And so Deuteronomy 22 presents sexual assault as primarily injuring whoever asserted property rights over a woman. And the penalty differed depending on the nature of those property rights. And that sexual ethic and legal standard is obviously horrific and outdated and has absolutely no place in the contemporary world. The Bible is just wrong. And the fit for this video has been Sade.